Here's a recap of the penultimate episode of the season, though, before next week's finale. To begin, Beth and Rip get the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch ready for auction. Not the actual ranch, but an abundance of livestock, horses, and equipment that will essentially make the ranch worthless, albeit might save the land after everything is sold. Rip and Beth debate over how to manage the ranch and whether they can even turn a profit in the future. Beth then inquires about Taylor Sheridan's character Travis Wheatley, who is down south selling some Dutton horses. Rip doesn't think Beth should go to Texas to supervise Travis because his friend isn't below trying to have sex with his friend's wife. However, Beth sells their horses anyhow, since she doesn't think Travis will do it right. Thomas Rainwater and Morse couldn't give the world away, keeping an eye on the oil pipeline's progressing construction. Beth travels to the Boss Ranch in the south. If it seems familiar, it's because each Yellowstone end credits feature Boss Ranch Productions as one of the production companies. In addition, it is a working ranch that is owned by Travis Wheatley Taylor, Sheridan's character in the Yellowstone universe, and Sheridan himself. Travis is playing strip poker and ignoring the Brazilian buyers when Beth eventually catches up with him. He quickly gets up and running thanks to Beth, and he does quite well. During the showcase, Sadie, Travis's girlfriend, tells Beth that it's all about his riding when she asks why she's with him. After Beth observes Travis at work, she begins to see the appeal for herself, particularly when he uses his maintenance staff to pretend to be competing bidders. Sell the horses at the Dutton Ranch for $3 million. That's wise business, even if he is the worst. Then, thinking that what Travis did in the Bosque Arena would also benefit the Yellowstone, Beth invites him to return to Montana for the auction. Travis agrees to the task, but only after they play their own version of strip poker beforehand. Beth is aware that no one can put on a horse show like Travis. Travis believes Rip will find it amusing, but Beth is irritated and claims Rip will murder him even if Beth loses. He offers his assistance without any conditions and prevents her from stripping. When Rip returns to Montana, he begs Lloyd, who has spent 43 years at the Yellowstone, to stay and help rebuild it from the ground up. Rip is pushing to keep Carter and Lloyd around, even if the rest of the hands will be out of the job. "Thank you, boss," replies Lloyd. "It means more to me than you know," Rip responds. "I know what it means to you, that's why I asked." Before Christina's baby mama and former campaign manager takes him inside her home that evening, he sits outside. Christina inquires as to whether Sarah was accountable for John's passing as their infant James is fast sleeping. After Jamie tells the facts, Christina questions why he didn't simply arrest her. Jamie lies to them both and claims it's because he is terrified of the people Sarah hired to murder his father. He's unsure of what to do in the wake of her murder. Kristen informs Jamie, "The only reason I'm helping you is because we share a child," and give him instructions to hold a news conference and lead the inquiry into the deaths of Sarah and John. Christina claims that Jamie can only escape this reasonably undamaged by denying the affair and accusing the people disseminating those rumors of spreading false information. "Honor your father's beliefs and proclaim his passion for Montana and its citizens, the care of his death to be a flagrant violation of the law, not merely a murder," Christina says. She advises Jamie to declare John's death the murder of the people of Montana's freedom. She also advises Jamie that he needs to link to the killing so that everyone thinks she did it by herself. Jamie departs with a new goal, his entire future on the line. When Beth gets home, she questions her husband about how Travis could possibly be his buddy. After Beth departed Montana, Rip reflects on his early years and describes how he and Travis initially connected. Travis stood at Rit's side and fought back when he was surrounded by the cowboys while defending a former girlfriend. Even though he was a bloody mess, the Texan cowboy even walked back into the pub to get Rit's hat afterward. At the auction the following day, Beth informs Monica that in order to pay off their debt they will need to begin selling off portions of the property. In order to save them, the suffering Monica offers to handle the coroner's office call regarding their father's remains, which Casey butts in and informs his sister about. Beth tells Rip that following the auction there will be a modest funeral. It's quite the party. Speaking of the auction, the Turnpike Troubadours and Oklahoma Band provide the music and everyone has a great time. The ranch personnel gather and discuss the future after the showing, including Jamie and his wife Emily, who are visiting from the 4-6s. Although some like Walker see promise in the future, Ryan and Tyra both battle their sadness and find it difficult to completely move on after Kobe's passing. In reference to the mourning, Senator Leno Perry confesses to Beth that she has attended more funerals on this ranch than anywhere else in the state. Since the senator had been one of her father's closest friends, Beth extends an invitation to Leno to attend John's burial, even though it is supposed to be a private gathering. Casey and Monica dance together as the music kept playing. Here Casey offers a distinct strategy for preserving Yellowstone that in his opinion ensures its survival. When he tells Monica, "I know in my heart it's going to work, and I know it's the right thing." The episode switches to Rip and Beth as they see Teeters separate from the others, leaving us on the edge of our seats. Knowing that the men will just want to make things better, Beth decides to help the other woman deal with her grief by asking her out to a classy pub so they can socialize with some visitors. Tara asks whether the agony will ever go after she and Beth frighten away several tourists at the bar. "There's a hole in your heart now?" asked Beth. "There's a hole in mine too." The auction resumes the following day, but not before pausing to pay tribute to Colby Mayfield and John Dutton. In front of everyone, Casey and Tara display horses without riders while the auctioneer remarks Colby died exercising his freedom, and John Dutton died protecting it. After that, unsure of what to do with all the horses gone, Carter asks Beth what they plan to do next. Telling him, "I guess you sleep," and Casey is caught up with Beth, who mentions that the ranch made roughly $30 million, which might sustain them for another year. However, the topic of discussion soon changes. "You promise me something?" Casey asks her. "Never spend a single penny of your earnings or dollars here, not a single penny. That is not how it can be saved." Beth concurs, but before Casey leaves, he raises a business question, asking whether taxes are calculated on the item's value or just the price you pay for it. Beth seems to be catching on to Casey's cover scheme to save the Dutton Ranch after being asked the question. Just to make sure, Casey urges his sister to wait a little while before telling Monica that he thinks giving the Yellowstone is the only way to rescue it.